I'm with Rob Scott, who's built a wine cellar below the lounge of his house to store his wine. I asked him where the idea came from.
I've been collecting wine for many years now, and for a good few years I've been wondering on a way to store it properly. Room temperature doesn't do your wine any justice. You need a place where you can have a constant temperature, cool temperature, to allow your wines to store for longer and get better. To avoid using all sorts of fancy cooling or air conditioning in a normal room, I decided to go underground, and then the underground temperature takes care of that for you. Also, it saves space in my house. So we selected the spot in the side of the lounge, which was more suitable, out the way of traffic. Basically, we started by just making a huge compass with chalk, drew a 3.3 meter wide ring on the concrete floor, and then started cutting with the angle grinder. Once we got to the concrete slab, it was all dug by hand, and we went down 3.3 meters deep. As we got deeper and deeper, it became more and more tricky. So we had guys on top and the bottom passing buckets of soil out. So after the hole was dug and all prepared, I had a plastic bag, like a dam liner, built, the right shape for the circle. And then we put that in, so basically a waterproof bag. And then we had to cast a concrete slab at the bottom as a sort of foundation of the cellar, which was quite a tricky process because you're working in a hole and you've got to cast the whole slab perfectly flat. So it was quite a tricky business with a ladder, balancing on a ladder to try and finish off the floating. No place to stand, it's very difficult to get out. But we got that done, and then we could start loose packing the concrete blocks. So actually the first part of the work was to design our concrete blocks and make them. There were 160 blocks in total that I had to make. The concrete blocks form the walls, but they also are your storage containers. Each block will fit 12 average sized bottles of red wine. White wine bottles are generally thinner, so we had to make it fit a sort of like larger than average bottle of red wine.
Are you more a red wine drinker than a white wine drinker?
Yeah, if you go down to the cellar, you'll find very little white wine. Yeah. We built these shutter type molds, but they dismantle. So once you've made your mix, you cast it in this box and you allow it to set for a day. The next day you dismantle it and you basically collapse the box inside and outside of the block. And then the block goes into water for a week or two to cure. Water strengthens cement, so we cured the blocks for about 2 weeks each and then pour our next load of blocks. We had about 140 blocks made by the time I started the digging process and preparation of the hole. Then the blocks, which were all made and ready, could be loose packed in rings from the bottom up. Each block is made with a 9-degree angle on either side, and there are 20 blocks to form the actual ring. We went up about, I think it was 8 blocks higher, making it 160 blocks in total. The strength comes from the soil forcing them together from behind. So once all the blocks were in place, we had to cast the concrete slab, which became the floor of my lounge and the roof of the cellar. It had to be really strong because it's a floating roof. So we used a lot of round bar, I think about 500 meters of steel round bar. We made a very strong concrete for it and cast that on top of the shutterboard. So once we had cast the concrete floor, daily we would cure it with water just to strengthen it. And after about 2 weeks, it was hard and we could actually dismantle the whole frame from inside and then send it up through the trapdoor system. So after that, we had to build a very complicated staircase to fit the shape of the circular cellar. So we had to build a 3-dimensional laminated beam. We had to build a little prototype first. We did a small prototype in the garage just to see how it would work. But to build the main structure, we built a floor-to-ceiling jig in the garage, which basically formed a barrel shape, which we laminated strip by strip daily to make about 150 by 150 mil wide 3-dimensional laminated beam, which is quite a big job. And that beam actually supported the stairs. Once that beam was made, we'd take it off and then shape each groove for the stairs. The stairs we actually made out of our own milled blackwood timber we cut down on our property. Once the staircase was all prepared, we had to bring it into the cellar and install it. The next step was just all the finer details, like making the trapdoors, these hinged trapdoors, which so I can lock the thing, and now I can get at my wine. And I got a big barrel, I think it is a 300-litre barrel from Cape Town sent up, which I cut the top off to make the table in the middle. And then it was ready to bring the wine in. The idea is to buy wine which is young, store it for however long it needs to be stored for, often 5 to 10 years, and then drink it when it's old and keep replacing it. Yeah, so it's actually become a really great social place in my house now. Whenever friends come along, we go downstairs, open a bottle of wine, sit, chat. We've got a Polaroid camera down there. Every time new friends come, we take pictures, and you'll see on the walls we've stuck little pictures of all our memories with dates. So it's really become a lovely little space in my house, yeah.